what sort of departments do you think would be not necessarily quick wins, but what areas, if you're looking at helping your company expand and use your CRM more effectively, where should they be looking at helping to connect this to systems, or what other departments should they like open this up to?
Well, sure. So it goes along with we were just talking about key wins, and one of the things to think about is when you're implementing a system, what for your users, think about their path of least resistance. Pardon me. Think about their path of least resistance. If I get a phone call and I'm on an inbound sales line or customer service line, what is the easiest thing for me to do? And if the easiest thing to do isn't the right thing to do, then really give some thought on that experience. So I think we gotta try to really make sure that the path of least resistance is also the right path and the right user experience. So that's something to think about. And one of the things that gets in the way of that is if you have to flick between different screens and work with different systems, or if you have to enter data in multiple places at once, those things are never intuitive for a user. Nobody says, you know what, I really want to enter all this customer information into a CRM system, and then I want to enter it into the ERP system. You know, how about this? What if the CRM system, after entering somebody's name or email address, was able to locate the company's information from the World Wide Web and bring in their address information so I don't have to type it in? That would make it easier for me to start by entering that information and entering a lead in the CRM, because it's actually less data entry. So it might be a change in the way I do things, but it's a positive change because it takes less time and it's easier to do, and I get more accurate information. You know, and then what if we integrate our CRM system with the ERP system? And so that same customer information doesn't have to be manually keyed in by anybody a second time. I mean, even better, imagine if we start off the customer journey back from a marketing perspective and somebody filled out a landing form or a landing page on our website, and they put in their own name and email address, and then the CRM augmented that or enriched that with accurate data. Now there's no manual data entry on the part of our staff. So by leveraging tools and thinking through the entire customer journey and the tools that support it, we can actually do a lot that really revolutionizes the way that our users think about the systems that are being used. And we can truly achieve something that's more, you know, years and years ago, the utopia was to get to a paperless society. So, you know, maybe we haven't 100% achieved paperless, but most of what we do is either on email or text or in you know, intercompany communication through tools like Slack and Skype and all of these other collaboration tools, and we've certainly reduced the amount of paper. But I think the next paradigm is to be thinking about CRM and customer experience as in terms of no touch. So systems that intelligently can grab information and bring it in and really isolate the things that the system asks of the end user to things that the end user is uniquely qualified to give as information. So again, that means exploring and using tools like external data sources automatically and bringing that into enriched data to reduce the amount of manual data entry. And that gets rid of another barrier, which is that end users, again, don't want to have to enter things in multiple times. So look for a key win for those people. Make sure that when you implement the system, they enter data fewer times, not more times. And that means integration with the ERP system. It means that we want our marketing automation system to automatically communicate with our social media channels. And we want that data to get automatically pushed into the CRM without other you know, manual data entry.
You know
so
what?
Those are all things that we can do to make it easier and make using the system the path of least resistance, not greatest resistance.
Yeah, and I think there's also like almost a mind shift, almost a thought process shift that needs to take place. You know, we're really on a cusp of some really cool stuff that happens with technology, and the technology that existed 5 years ago or 10 years ago is so much different than it exists now. Integrations are a lot less complicated to some degrees, right? Would you say that? And it does open up the ability for organizations who haven't considered things like this to say, you know, there's a really cost-effective way that will bring a lot of value to our business to bring maybe just a phone system in and bring the metadata from that, or connect it to your QuickBooks, or, you know, things like that. So I mean, every business is different, but do you see more integrations that bring more value, certain integrations to different systems that bring more value or faster value than others?
Sure, and I think it depends on the customer situation and the use case and whether we're
Sure.
talking about inbound or outbound customer service. But things like phone integration, you know, we're seeing more and more mature online or you know, telephony platforms that have um, integration that's already been pre-built so that they can work with a CRM system or with a customer service based system, so that when a phone call comes in, that we automatically see the contact information pop up. Or when we're on a contact that we want to call, we can, you know, click on a little icon, it automatically dials. We see phone recordings being stored within the system. You know, beyond phone and communication systems, obviously, we see text communication, SMS being often used. And you know, that's an area that's always changing and expanding as SMS gets more and more used by businesses. With marketing automation becoming more mature and integrated into the system, we're seeing email communication that isn't just like if you did email blasts in the old days and sent out and used spam as a tool for your business. You know, once upon a time, spam was just considered, what wasn't called spam, and it was just considered leading edge in the way to communicate. You know, within a short amount of time, the business world turned email into something that became a bad word and something to avoid, because we overused it and we sent out emails that weren't relevant because it was just so cheap, and there were no real consequences to sending irrelevant messages to people at the wrong time. Modern marketing automation systems are returning relevance to email, because we can actually keep tabs on what somebody's interested in based on perhaps the interactions they're having on our website, and we can
Yeah.
get information to them that is, you know, at the speed of light, at the moment that they're interested, and it's relevant. And we're getting better readability rates, better deliverability rates, fewer people unsubscribing. And so marketing automation really brings this concept of I want, you know, people still value one-to-one communication, not necessarily because, as you might think, they think of another person being on the other end. You know, I guess it's nice to communicate with another person, but what people want is relevance and timely information. So if you can deliver that to them, they will read your communications, and they will take action on those communications. So marketing automation is giving us the ability to do that. So having that integrated into the CRM system, so that you know, we have end-to-end visibility and logic, making sure that everything is timely and relevant and appropriate for a customer's situation and their interests. You know, that kind of integration is really critical. It's really like having the left hand knowing what the right hand is doing.
You're really starting to see um, like almost a journey that your customers or your clients could take, starting from the very first, you know, interacting with a web form on your website, all the way through, you know, leveraging your CRM and these tools working together to get a full snapshot of that person's journey. Now, this idea of a customer journey, you know, pulling into things that are, you know, happening within our own industry right now, the concept of CX, customer experience, those tie in really tightly. We actually, you know, like the term CX, it means something. It has an impact on the business. It's different. It's a different way of looking at CRM. It's a more user-friendly way of doing it. We often joke, though, that we were doing CX before it was cool, before people had a nickname for it, and we called it CRM.